So first is a bluebird. A bluebird is a small, like that, a songbird. The male and female look different. The male has a blue head, back, wings, and tail, with brownish on the belly, very beautiful and majestic. The female is a little drabber, with bluish. It's kind of just a bluish gray throughout, small eye ring. And then there's also the juvenile bluebird, which is a young bluebird that just came out of the nest, like a teenager, basically. That is a little more colorful than the female, but not as the male. It has a bluish-gray wings, back and head, and grayish-brown on the belly with spots. The western bluebird is fairly common across North America, mostly western. Here's a range map. You can see that in our area, Los Angeles, they're there year-round, they're residents. And I've even seen bluebirds at the school here. I've seen pairs of them, and at the park where we go to for PE. And a bluebird also, its main habitat is a grassy meadow with a few trees, for example like that, and just a lawn, a park, any open area with some trees. That's where a bluebird would be, like outside. And the thing that's unique about a bluebird is that it nests in a tree cavity, in a hole made by a woodpecker. It can't carve its own hole, and it'll nest inside the tree and raise its young. That's something really unique. And there you can see one in a tree cavity. Its main diet is worms and insects, and any small bugs. Yummy. Why do we do the project? And I'll tell you about the project. So the bluebirds nest in the tree cavities of mostly dead trees, I told you. And then the people cut down the trees for safety because they're afraid that it'll fall down on a kid's head or something. So the bluebirds have fewer places to nest because of the loss of trees. So we make nest boxes to replace the trees that the bluebirds are losing. We hang them up in many places, and we have to get permission. And sometimes that doesn't always work out. Like they say, you're not hanging anything in our trees. We're scared a box will fall on the kid's head. We don't want you hanging anything in our trees, like silly reasons. Here's an example of a nest box. You can see they go in from the hole. The project. We make nest boxes for bluebirds, mainly out of redwood, a kind of wood. The boxes and the wood, they're funded by Pasadena Audubon Society, which we got a grant from them, and they gave us money so we could buy the wood to make the boxes. I make them, and other Pasadena Audubon Society members, my parents, and Norm Vargas. We hang the boxes at parks, golf courses, cemeteries, and horse stables, all with some lawn and green area. Sometimes we golf the golfers hit the box with their golf balls. That doesn't always work out, but the boxes are hung 10 feet above the ground. They'll use them that way. And the boxes, we monitor them. We take them down and check them once a week from March to early August. And that's the time when bluebirds nest, the breeding season. Here's how we make the nest boxes. We start with a plan, like that shows all the dimensions and all that. Then we cut the wood. And then we sand and make sure and measure. Then we drill and screw, and then finished product. Here you can see it hung 10 feet above the ground. And here's an example of monitoring the nest boxes. We take a pole, we get it down from the tree, bring it down, then we have the box like this, and then we'll open it up from the side. And put it back. We have to make sure it stays in exactly the same place where we got it, or else the birds might not use it. Really important is that we take field notes, which are notes while we're watching the bluebirds. We like sketch them and do all that. We record the number of bluebirds present, the number of boxes with nests, number of eggs, the number of youngsters, like the hatchlings that just hatched out of the egg, the fledglings, the ones that got out of the box, and most importantly, the behavior of the bluebirds and the sketches. Here's an example of field notes. There you can see the writing part. There you can see some sketches of a male and a map. And there, that's something called a spreadsheet. And on the spreadsheet, that's where we record the eggs, nests, young, and that. This is the notes are mostly behavior, but the spreadsheet is where we record the amounts of bluebirds and eggs and all that. And we send the spreadsheet to the bluebird database where they record the numbers of the bluebirds and see if their population is increasing. Here is a bluebird, how they develop. They start with claiming the box. The female and male will go inside and out and poop on it. And they'll make the nests lay 5 eggs, usually 5, can be 4 or 6. And then they'll turn to babies after about 2 weeks. And they sit on the eggs for 2 weeks. Sometimes when we monitor the boxes, we lift it up the door and the female is sitting on the eggs. That's like really cute. Some people lift the female up so they can count the eggs. We don't do that. This is about 2 days old. And then you get 12, this is probably 14 days old, or 12 to 14. You can't monitor the nest boxes after the hatchlings are 12 days old because they could hop out after 12 days. So we usually just let them sit when they're 12 days. Their eyes open at 8 days old, the bluebirds. house sparrow and starling nests are removed from the box. House sparrows are small birds like bluebirds. They go in the hole and kill the bluebird babies and take the eggs. So we remove any of their nests. That's a male, and that's a female. This is a starling. A starling is a bigger bird like that, so it can't fit in the hole. But if you make the hole a little too big, they can fit, and they will do the same thing as the house sparrows. So we remove any of their nests. We're allowed to remove their nests because those are non-native species. They were introduced from Europe on a boat long ago, and they were released and spread. So you're allowed to take the nests out. But with the bluebirds, you can't because they're native. Now the results. We've been only doing this since 2013.